Trees come in all shapes and sizes. From evergreen to deciduous, bloomers and leafers, they all play their part in either the home garden or broader landscape. The important part is picking the right tree for the right space. When it comes to selecting street trees, height plays a major factor, especially where power lines are involved. As we all know, power lines mixing with trees can be a serious issue. That's why SA Power Networks invest a lot of time and money in contracting out the trimming and maintenance of trees under and near power lines across the state. Someone who knows all about how trees impact our power supply and why correct street tree selection is critical is SA Power Networks Manager of Vegetation, Kev Connell.
The state is split up into two areas, a bushfire and non-bushfire risk area. We're here in beautiful Walkerville, where we trim this once every 3 years. The non-bushfire program is a 1 in 3 year cycle, and our bushfire program is on an annual cycle or a 2-year cycle. On that program, there's 413,000 spans across our network. Now, a span is between one stable pole and the next. Now, we check those 413,000 spans either annually or every second year. This year, it looks like it'll be the biggest year on record, and we'll cut in the vicinity of 70,000 spans. So a significant cost, but we need to make sure we have a safe and reliable network for the communities of South Australia.
Kev, who makes the rules about how trees are pruned around power lines?
Those rules are set by the Office of the Technical Regulator through the state government.
And the cost to SA Power Networks and ultimately to us in pruning is expensive.
Significant. It's the largest single operating expenditure we have as an organisation. We'll spend between $35 and $40 million in raw costs on vegetation management. If we allow councils or members of the public to plant inappropriate trees under our network, those costs will escalate because those trees require ongoing maintenance.
What would you define as an inappropriate tree?
Ultimately, height, 3 metres in the bushfire risk area and 6 metres in the non-bushfire risk area.
So what options are there for councils in terms of tree planting?
So there's two main options. One is plant within the guidelines, so plant things which are on the appropriate list, or they can plant trees not on the list, but there's a framework around that via an exemption, and they'll pick up the ongoing maintenance costs for those trees.
One council taking a lead in power-friendly street tree selection is the town of Walkerville. Dave Williams, member of the council's beautification team, is very happy to explain.
We're doing some trials of the SA Power Networks where we've replaced some trees which weren't really viable for the area. And so here we've got a brachychiton. These trees grow to about 6 metres in height, which is below the power line, and we're doing other tree trials. Down the end of the street here on Lansdowne, we've got flowering gums, and at the top we've got maple, and they're all doing really well. If we can plant trees that don't require a lot of pruning under the power lines, it's a win-win situation.
We're cutting in the vicinity of 45,000 trees within the metropolitan and non-bushfire risk area per annum. If we can reduce those by having the appropriate tree planted, so it doesn't require cutting, we'll reduce the costs.
Green Adelaide board member and SA Power Networks Advisory Committee member Kelvin Trimper shares his view on the subject of power line friendly street trees.
We need trees in our environment. As our housing developments get denser, often the only place we've got room for trees is in the streetscape. SA Power Networks, recognising that we need to get the right tree in the right place, has brought together the best experts it can muster from around the state to advise on what species we should be planting, working out what species should be on an approved list so that local government has got an easy decision to make when some areas like this need replanting. If you get a tree off the approved list, it's fine. We know it's not going to get into the power lines and it'll be okay. Keep our costs down, yet provide the habitat and cooling effect that we want from trees in our landscape.
When it comes to street tree planting under power lines in the future, making sure they're the right height appropriate tree will ensure electricity keeps flowing and help take the shock out of our power bills. Head to the SA Power Networks website or contact your local council for more details.